Hello and welcome to League Racing on F1 23. We're here, PSGL Round 1 in Bahrain, Q1. In fact, my first official league race as an Alfa Romeo driver. That's a special feeling to say, and it would mean even more to me to be able to get a good result here today. Like I say, in this first round of PSGL. Bahrain typically isn't really a strong circuit for me, to be honest. My driving style suits front limited tracks quite a lot more, whereas this is extremely rear limited and depends a lot on rotation from the rear, especially in these sort of turns like we're coming to right now. This right-hander where you have to rotate it quite a lot. Does not suit my driving style, but nevertheless, we are here and we're going to try and do our best job possible. We're purple in the middle sector here in Q1. First lap of the PSGL season for us. Through the final corner, went green as well on the Delta. And we're running up the line, opening up DRS. And in Q1, it's going to be a 27.7, putting us P3 in fact. And that was enough to get through Q1 on one run of tyres alone. We're now in Q2. And Caraton goes to 27.9. We are on our Q1 tyres, so we're worn tyres right now, so lap times are not going to be peaked. But running up to the line, we do a 27.9, putting ourselves P2, so the pace is looking extremely strong. My first new tyre run of Q2. We are still P3 on the standings, so this has been a very promising start to the PSGL qualifying session. Out of the final corner, open up the throttle. We've got 6 minutes left on the timer, opening up DRS, flying down into turn 1. It's not critical to get a perfect lap right now, it's just critical to get the lap booked all together through turn 1, get that rotation nicely. I don't like to slide the rear tyres on this game. I like to try and manage the temperature as much as possible. A 10th up already, with that being said. Patch of C-Force goes to 27.5 into turn 4. Fourth gear, let the car rotate, a little bit of understeer as we try to bite the tyres into the tarmac. Through the fast right, into left, keep it flat as much as possible, a bit of oversteer as we touch the curb inside, down into third gear, super easy to lock the rear tyres. Lucas Blakely to a 27.507. Into the most difficult braking zone of the calendar, in my opinion. Let the car rotate, a bit of sliding on the rear, it wasn't really too helpful to our traction, but we have 3 temps up on our Delta, and we're flying down into what I believe is turn 11 through the left-hander, fourth gear, smooth on the power as we rise up the crest into the flat-out right-hander. Very critical to manage rear tyre temperature at this point. You can see purple in the middle sector, so we're really liking that sector on this track. And our driving style is suiting the tyre management really nicely so far. 4 temps up on the Delta. Into the final corner, critical not to really make a big mistake here. Ran a little bit wide, right up against the white line. And we are going to end the lap 4 temps up. And that puts us exactly equal with Lucas Blakely on a 27.507. Our final run in Q2, we wasn't able to get the tyre temperature correct while building up the lap. We were very tight on time. We were the second to last car to cross the line, and it was not ideal. But nevertheless, we are safely through into Q3. So Brendon, let's do more tyre prep.
Screenshot doesn't work.
And you can see I was saying I wanted more tyre prep in the future, but both in Q1 and Q2 I was able to get through on our first runs, and I haven't been able to do that for years, to be honest. So I'm really happy that I'm able to start this game in a positive flow. It's probably been the best game start I've had since 2018, in fact. So I'm feeling really good going into the next part of this game and really developing myself towards the F1 esports season. Into the final corner, first run of Q3, fresh set of soft tyres, and out of the final corner, right up against the white line. The tyres bited into the tarmac really nicely there, and we're fastest in Q3 so far. I think this is Lucas Blakely coming across the line, and he was only able to go P4, and it's a 1-2 at the moment for Alfa Romeo. In our final run of qualifying now, we are right up behind the McLaren of Wilson Hughes. Backing up a little bit, getting the final brake temperature, getting the final tyre temperature. We're currently P2. We're looking to gain 1 spot to go to pole position here in Bahrain. 30 seconds left on the timer. So we're very leaving it late in this session. Optimizing the grip, optimizing the tyre temperatures, and we're going to need it for this qualifying lap here in Bahrain. Flying down to turn 100-meter board, down into 3rd gear. Let the car rotate, and that was very nice there. Early on the power, avoid the marbles on the exit, smoothly does it. And we're able to be equal with a delta out of turn 1 and turn 2. Into turn 4, 100-meter board down into 4th gear. Let the car rotate, and it nicely does. The front biting into the tarmac, a little bit of snap oversteer as we came out the corner, and that cost us a quarter of a tenth. Into the fast right left, hard on the power, stay committed. The car wiggling around, looking for traction, purchase grip. Down into 3rd gear, rotate the car through smoothly on the power, and now we're gaining loads of lap time. The rear tyre temperature is in a good position, and then we're going to get a little bit on the marbles in the braking zone, and that cost us a bit of rear grip, and we had to turn in early to catch the slide, and that cost us half a tenth on this apex alone, and that was gutting, but we're still level with our delta. We could still do 7 on this lap. Down into 4th gear, send the car in, hard on the power, very committed on the exit here, gaining more time as we rise over the crest of the hill into 7th gear, into the final sector of the track. 4th gear, hard on the power, right up against the white line. You can see now we're half a tenth up again, so we're gaining back that time into the final corner of the track. Just going to send it in, hard on the brakes, down to 4th gear, nicely does it on the apex, hard on the power, and we're going to exit the lap 0.6 up, so we could have been 1.1 tenths up if it wasn't for that mistake, but these things can happen, and we are currently provisionally P4 on the grid, and let's see what that translates to.
Copy.
And that is P4.
Or do you want to say this in group chat?
But we do end up
don't know.
only 0.7 away from pole position, so you know, it is what it is.
Okay, so maybe I will go on mute.
What happened. We maybe could have fought for pole position, but that's a really positive feeling for me that we could have fought for pole position.
Medium as well?
Especially going from previous seasons.
Okay.
So this is a massive confidence booster for me, and I'm
together.
definitely feeling good going into the future races.
Softs. Everyone else is on hard. So
but more importantly, speaking of today's race, we are lining up on the grid. We're on medium tyres here at Bahrain. Only myself and Thomas are on medium tyres, and we've got the lights coming on. 2 lights, 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights, and it's lights out. Away we go for the first race here in PSGL, here in Bahrain. Flying off the line, getting good traction in the slipstream of Bahrain, and now we're going to go down the inside, making a free ride into turn 1. You can see we lock up a little bit, and we make a little bit of contact with Thomas, but no real big damage done. Now we're looking for a good run out of turn 3 in the slipstream of Bahrain, pressing the DRS. Bahrain's lagging a little bit, so it makes me a little bit nervous, and we're going to try and go round this outside in turn 1. Bahrain locks up a little bit, and he's going to run us wide. That's all fair, that's all square. You know, he had the car ahead, so he can take the line if he wants to. That's no problem. Now into the middle sector of the first lap. We're able to go up from P4 to P2, and we're in a good position right now. Of course, I'm extremely sorry to Thomas for that little bit of contact. I had Barry on the inside of me, and I couldn't have predicted when Barry was going to turn in, so it was just a bit of a racing incident. These things can happen. These things have happened to me in the past. So yeah, it's just part of racing, to be honest. But what is also part of racing is making sure we can get past and clear Barry Borman as fast as possible. I know it's not going to be easy, but it's going to be very critical if we could try and break this DRS. The strategy was semi-reliant on being able to get ahead and break the DRS early on, but Barry is going to be wise to that initially, and he's going to be pressing a lot of battery down this pit straight, as you're going to see, and it's going to allow him a very good opportunity to try and defend the position. I realise now, at the end of lap 1, that breaking the DRS would rely on a mistake from Barry. So I decided to try and save my battery for later in the race. You see Lucas closing into turn 1. Lucas tries to go around the outside of us, but that's not going to be working. Making a small bit of wheel banging on the apex and a little bit of contact. Maybe that was just wheel spin. But basically hard racing, good racing with Lucas, a good friend of mine as well. So it was fun to be able to battle him into turn 1 and turn 2. And there's going to be plenty more battling as the race goes on, that's for sure. And we are now into the middle sector once again, managing tyre temperatures, lap 3. And now I've been waiting, saving my battery up, and we're going to be able to go past Barry Borman on the DRS, on the pit straight, heading on to lap 4, doing a 30.099. Not even needing to press battery down the pit straight, and this is how Chris was able to follow him down into turn 1, break at the 100-meter board. and down into third gear. You see cars fighting behind us, but that's not really our problem for right now. We're just focused on trying to put together a good lap. The medium tyres are not really a great tyre. The hard tyre, in my opinion, is a very good race tyre here. So I was looking to try and get this tyre out of the way as fast as possible. And now that they're in the DRS, it's very difficult to brake, because the DRS and the slipstream is even more powerful than it was in the previous games. And you're going to see a lot of free wide racing here in Bahrain. You can see exiting the final corner, we had a 4/10 advantage and a better exit compared to Bahrain. And you can see he's already flying past us, as well as Thomas is going to be attacking us into turn 1 as well. Down the inside, we break a little bit early. We see Lucas coming out of nowhere, so we had to leave him the space to be all fair on the racing. We could have turned into him, but we got a little bit of wheel spin as well in the slipstream of Bari, the dirty air Bari, I should say. So I apologise for the little push. It's not the racing I want to do. Yeah, my apologies for that one, as we're heading side by side, free wide again, and you can see now a free wide moment with Jarno on the outside, and we leave the room adequate space, especially considering Thomas was on the inside of us there. And you can see Lucas gives us a little tap down the inside. That's a little love tap, and I think considering what happened earlier in the lap, it's all fair, it's all square. Like I say, me and Lucas are good friends, so we're not looking to be anything malicious anyway, and I'm sure neither of us would have this intention within racing, even if we wasn't friends. So yeah, it's all very good fun to be battling Lucas and getting these little, like I say, love taps going on into the final corner. Big lock up as we was right in the dirty air of our teammate, opening up the DRS, deploying battery. We're trying to get into a 1-2 position at the end of the straight. You can see Bari's defenseless. DRS closed. DRS open for us down the inside and going free wide into the breaker zone. Make sure we get the car stopped for the apex. We do it pretty well, and we're not pushing anyone wide in this apex. Nice and smooth on the power. Now we're going to give the slipstream to Thomas behind us as well. So now it's a 1-2 for Alfa Romeo heading into turn 4 on lap 6, and now this is really where we could try and unfold our strategy if we can. It's going to be very critical to manage the gap, manage the tyres though, and get these tyres to an adequate place before we can fit the hard tyres later on in the stint. Made a bit of a mistake there, but wasn't too costly, but the battling definitely did hurt my rear tyres, and something that compromised my pace.
I don't want to start wasting
laps.
battery here.
So I didn't want to waste battery because I knew it was going to be a bit of a slipstream race, and I wanted to save it for later in the race. So you can see Thomas goes flying past us on the straight, and you can see we defend a little bit from Bari, but Bari sends it from absolutely miles back and hits us again, and completely puts us off the track. And this actually gave us front wing damage as well, so really compromised our race. But yeah, I can sit here, I could complain, but you know what? This is racing. I'm not going to sit here and pretend to be an angel. I've done these things to people before, and I have these things done to me as well. So Bari is a very fast, a very capable, a very amazing driver as well. Extremely skillful, one of the fastest on the grid. So I have nothing but respect for Bari, and like I say, these things can happen in racing, so I think there's not really much reason to be like complaining about these things. It's not ideal, but it is what it is, you know. And now on to lap 8. We're defending a little bit from Jarno, and you see we get a little bit unlucky as Lucas hits Bari in turn 1, and we had to back out because there's no point going up the inside of Lucas there. And Jarno got a better switchback compared to us, and now we're side by side with Jarno into turn 4, and you can see down the inside we're going to defend our position, hit the apex nicely, and you can see we're going to be leaving racing room on the outside, and we was able to get that position back from Jarno. But Jarno is attacking us all the way down the pit straight right now. He's got more battery than us. We're trying to brake as late as possible. And now hang on the inside, leave loads of room on the outside, side by side. You can see we back out of that around the outside of Jarno, because there's no point, you know, there's no point to go around the outside of there, because you can just be risked when running off the road. So yeah, it's all about risk equation in racing, and there was no point going there. But there is a point going to the pit box on lap 9. We're going in and getting it slowed down to 47 miles an hour. And you can hear our engineers on the radio there. Due to the damage with Bari, I elected to not change the wing, but increase the wing angle in the pit stop. In hindsight, I probably didn't do this by enough clicks. I still had understeer in the car, but it was definitely a better solution than I had before. So this is all learning ahead of the F1 Esports season, so I'm really happy to have that learning. I was asking about the pit lane line, because in F1 Esports you're allowed to cut the pit lane exit line, whereas here you're not. I just wanted to clarify that before I did anything. What could gain or lose me time, and now coming out the pit box on lap 10, it's critical to warm these tyres up as fast as possible. We got clean air, we got Otis 8 seconds ahead of us. So that's a nice big gap to push into. You can see a little bit of understeer, but the tyres are cold right now. So it's going to be critical to reevaluate our balance of the car and how much understeer we have once the tyres are warmed up. Definitely wasn't ideal for the fast right-left though. Now through the hairpin, you can still see warming up the rear tyres nicely. Lap 11, Thomas has exited the pit box, and now we are comfortably in the DRS of the once race leader, Thomas. So we're in a good position here that we can start working together, slipstream each other, look after our tyres, and manage the overcut and undercut potential ahead of the pit stop window for the other cars. Lap 11, you can see we're not using our ERS. We're working as a good teammate, to be honest, at the moment, flying down the pit straight. Lap 12, and now hitting the brakes for the 100-meter board, hitting the apex nicely, and we're going to try and keep on using the advantage of the DRS to try and put each other along and put ourselves in advantage position compared to Lucas, Bari, and every other car possible ahead of the pit stop window. Lap 12, you can see I'm not pressing any battery, I'm not defending. We do the fastest lap of the race though, up to this point. And you can see we get told that Otis ahead of us has a full battery. In 3 laps has lost about 5 seconds as well, so clearly has front wing damage. And you can see another half a lap later, we're able to close up, so we lost 2 seconds in this period of time as well. And we do the purple middle sector, thought it was quite nice. Following Otis very closely.
Will not attack you in the final corner.
You can see I'm saying I will not attack Thomas in the final corner to make us not lose any time. Otis slows down, trying to look for the DRS. We predict this, we go for the switchback and get 2 moves on the exit and 1 effectively. The second one will be coming as we get into the slipstream of Thomas, who does not have DRS. You can see Otis, who's very tactical there, waited for the DRS, and now he's attacking us back down this straight. And he's on the inside now, and you can see we're braking as late as possible around the outside, and we just get shoved off the track. We just get shoved off the track, and now we're side by side, and now he's still hitting us on it. He's still hitting me! So, yeah, he pushed me, I pushed him back, so it is one of those things in racing, these things can happen. I'm not going to sit here and pretend to be an angel, and I'm not going to sit here and cry and complain about other people racing hard, because this is racing, and these things can happen. I don't want to be a content creator, a driver who complains about these things, because I've also done these things in my past. Like I say, I don't want to be a hypocrite and complain about other people pushing me off when also I've pushed people off in the past. So, yeah, I like just to keep it honest and keep it neutral in these situations.
I reckon side in front.
Of course, stuff can be said in the heat of the moment, but in reflection, we're all just racing. We're all just trying to have a good time. We're all doing our hobby. We're all doing our passion. And it's all for becoming a job for us at the moment. And you have people who are professional F1 esports drivers. You have people who are desiring to become F1 esports drivers. And yeah, we're just racing. And it's a very nice situation we have to be able to race for our job. And I think throwing criticism and hate towards other people for just racing is unfair. I think if you take someone out or someone takes you out deliberately, it's maybe more warranting of harsher criticism. But while we're just racing side by side, wheel to wheel, these things can happen, you know? It's life. Let's move on. But yeah, and we are now on to lap 17 here. With that front wing damage from Otis as well as Bari earlier in the race. We are really hindering with the understeer. You can see our car is not turning in anymore, and it's really suffering with front tyre wear, tyre temperature, and understeer combined. We've got Lucas behind us, 4 tenths away, and to be honest, we're not even going to fight him. I wanted to see if we could stay in his DRS, because I think that would be very good for us later in the race if we could have stayed in the DRS, but with the understeer, you can see we're lapping 1.3 seconds slower than our fastest lap of the race, and on the hards, there's no real tyre drop-off, so we are losing, at least 7 tenths per lap, I think, with this damage. Out of turn 1, out of turn 2, and we are arriving through turn 3, opening up the DRS, and you can see we're deploying no battery down this straight, as we was thinking that we were close enough to Lucas. But as you can see, more understeer, and we're trying our hardest to try and stay within the DRS protection of Lucas. Through the fast right, we go in at 7 tenths, and we come out of the corner at 9 tenths, basically, 8.5 tenths. So we lost 1.5 tenths in 2 corners alone, and that's not just down to tyre compound difference. Out of the hairpin, it's already up to 1 second, so we lost 3 tenths in 3 corners, and now you can see Bari sends up the inside. We just give him the space. We don't really want to turn in, but we don't need to make an accident. We can just leave the space for the other car, as we've been trying our best to do so far in the race. So far, if we can leave the space, we will. And you can see now on lap 18, Frederick Rasmussen did box, I think, 1 or 2 laps later than us, so he's on a fresher set of hard tires. You can see the understeer already for what is a flat-out right-hander, and now 6/10 behind Bari on lap 18, trying to use a bit more battery, trying to keep up with him, trying to stay in that DRS. I really thought there was a chance here to stay with Bari's DRS, especially considering he did not have the DRS to Lucas. Out of the final corner, deploying the battery, opening a DRS, and we are 7/10 away from him right now, doing a 32.7, I should say, into turn 1, and we are half a second away with 10 laps to go in this race. As you can see, by the end of the lap, he's already 1.5 seconds ahead of us, and Lucas is already 3 seconds ahead of us. So, despite our best efforts to be strategical and plan out DRS and an ERS strategy, we wasn't able to have the pace to keep up. You can see Caraton and Frederick Rasmussen are catching up to us rapidly on the pitch straight, and you can see we just hold the outside line. Frederick wasn't able to go past us, so he got a bit boxed in. He sends it up the inside, and we leave the space on the apex. There was a bit of wheel banging, but it was okay, and was able to maintain the position ahead of Frederick as he was backing out before the exit curb, so he was able to run the racing line here. You see, we think about defending against Fabrizio Donoso, but he sends it up the inside, gives it a little bit of wheel-to-wheel banging, but again, it's racing. We don't need to complain about these things. And now we're into P5, and you can see Fabrizio Donoso was flashing ahead of us battery, so we've got at least 8% more, at minimum 2%. More than likely about 5, 6, 7% more battery than Fabrizio Donoso. End of the lap was able to hang in the DRS through turn 1, and we are really pushing so hard to manage the tyres, manage a gap ahead of us with this broken front wing. You can see out of the corner already up to 9/10 up ahead, 7/10 of Frederick Rasmussen behind, and we have used all of our battery trying to maintain the gap. End of the lap is 1.2 seconds and 6/10 to Frederick Rasmussen. 1.2 seconds to Dylan Warren, who interestingly has a 3-second penalty, so that can help us possibly later in this race. You can see Frederick Rasmussen is in the DRS zone. We're not even deploying battery, there's not any point. You can see cars ahead pulling away, and we're just trying to save our battery here. Lap 22, entering lap 23, we have 3/10 ahead. And even if we deployed battery, there'll be very low chance of defending this position right now. A 32.7 in clean air. You can see Dylan Warren's going to go up the inside of us, so we're going to lose 2 positions on this pitch straight as well. But right now I'm focused on trying to save the battery, save the tyres for later in the race. As you can see, we almost get tagged from the cars behind us. The closing speed was so phenomenal, and we are right up behind Dylan Warren, and we're not even going to try and attack him. We're just showing that we're going straight to the outside line. We want no business with attacking. We start lifting and coasting to save the battery as well. So we're really just trying to be strategical and plan out the rest of our race right now. Lap 23 still, and we're actually able to follow much closely than we have done on cars before. We see Jana behind on super fresh mediums. We could have defended the inside here, but we just decided not to. You can see we open the steering wheel and we just go for a good exit. Again, he's flashing here, and we could have deployed the battery, and we could have re-overtaken him into this apex, but we decided not to. We decided to play the race more strategical and pick off the cars that we had a better chance of fighting with, especially because I say the damage to the front wing, and we're on very old tyres at this point. I do believe, though, if we didn't have the damage to the front wing, we was able to certainly fight for a podium paying position. I think we would have been able to follow Lucas's DRS at least, and we would have been in a fight for the win. I think our pace was very strong today. We just had some unfortunate circumstances along the way. Lap 25 now, Jarno has cleared Freddie and Dylan Warren, and you can see we are trying to save as much battery as possible. We get hit by Nicholas behind, but again, it's just one of those things. I think Nicholas wasn't really at fault. He wasn't really a bad person in this situation. We were lifting and coasting, so I think there was just a very extreme closing speed from different speeds, so just maybe got caught out by that. But I don't need to say loads more about it. It was just a small tap on the rear, no big deal. And now we're arriving to lap 27, opening up the DRS, and we are 7/10 ahead of behind Freddie Rasmussen, I should say, and we are deploying battery all the way down the pit straight. Freddie is flashing, and you can see how far he was coming back from, and now overtaking into turn 1. I wanted to make sure that I was nice and close and trying to catch DRS off the straight ahead if I could, but Freddie Rasmussen gets an amazing run out of turn 3, and now he's re-overtaking us into turn 4 with the DRS a bit open, and into turn 4 he gets the move done, and we tried to go for the switchback, but we're not really able to make anything happen into the high-speed flowing right left. You can see following quite closely. We've done a really good job of managing our tyres, to be honest, considering I think we are on the oldest tyres of the field. And we certainly have quite a bit of front wing damage, costing us quite a lot of lap time as well. So we're really trying to manage the tyres, manage the battery to try and give ourselves a chance to even fight at the end of the race. On the exit, you can see the rear tyres are in still good shape as we was able to get good traction, 2 temps away from Freddie Rasmussen, and now we're closing up. A little bit of lifting coasting there to save a bit more battery as we'll be heading on to the final lap of the race next lap. You can see Freddie Rasmussen is now over 10%, now just under 10% ERS. For people who do not know, when the car head starts flashing with a rain light in the dry conditions, it means that they are under 10% ERS. And for a driver following, that means that they normally have an advantage and the car head is quite vulnerable. Now into the final corner, looking just to pick up a good exit. You can see hit the apex nicely there, smooth on the power, good exit, 3.5 temps away from Freddie Rasmussen, deploying what battery we have left. Freddie tries to break the slipstream in the DRS, in the toe, flying past on the slipstream down into turn 1. Have to make sure we get the apex stopped beautifully to make sure that Freddie cannot do what he did before. And you can see now we get a bit of a hit from Daniel Brisney going for the move on Freddie from behind, but that actually works into our favour, as now they're going to be 3 wide on the exit of turn 1, turn 2 and turn 3, and that's going to give us a clear little buffer to run our own race and run our own lap in turn 4. Now the critical factor is Dylan Warren is 3 seconds ahead of us, well 2 seconds ahead of us with a 3-second penalty, I should be saying. And that is very critical, so we have to make sure that we nail the rest of his lap, just to make sure he doesn't creep over 3 seconds away and give himself the opportunity to retain his P6 on the track. If we finish with the gap where we are right now, we'll be able to take P6. So that's my ambition for the rest of the lap, deploying more battery. And I have to say, a bit of a summary from the race. I would say it's a very positive race. This is, like I say, the best start to a Formula 1 game I've had since 2018. So I feel very confident to look forward to the next races and looking forward to the F1 Esports season, that I can be in a better position than I have been for the previous seasons. And I'm really motivated by that. I'm really grateful for the work that's going on internally to also improve myself, improve my driving style, improve my characteristics as a person, as a driver as well. So I'm very excited for the next races to come. Lucas Blakely wins the first race, so huge congratulations to him. And we're going to be coming across the line P7, but we are going to be finishing P6 on the results times. And that has been a very drama-filled PSGL opening race. And you can see officially P6 on the timing left-hand side. But I've been Brendon Leigh. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you next time. Ciao, ciao. Bye-bye.